Hello, this video is going to show you how to create our new transparent overlays using our universal overlay feature and your Control4 system. These overlays are a great way to provide visual feedback to the customer right over whatever they're watching. So it doesn't matter if they're watching Netflix or maybe even watching an HDMI input or any source really. We can pop up a nicely formatted transparent overlay over that in order to easily, quickly communicate information to your customer. So we'll start by logging into your Splash Tiles account. Once you're logged in, you just go, start here at Splash Tiles. And then once you're logged in, you just go to your dashboard and we're going to create a new screen. So if you've got something in your dashboard already, you can just go to File and hit Reset, and that'll reset you back to the default. And then we're just going to delete all this stuff because we don't need it all here. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to change the background from this photo app to just a generic color. And the reason is because whenever you have a generic color, regardless of its transparency setting, it will show up as transparent when you use overlay mode. This also works with a lot of our other apps, but it doesn't work with Photo app, obviously, because your photos are non-transparent. But for notification purposes, you're probably just going to use a generic background like this. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to add your tiles. Now, we're going to only use a single tile here, and it's going to be our push data display tile. So we'll just add this in, make it about 3 by 1. The background color I'm going to choose is probably going to be more of a bluish color. I don't know, whatever you find that you like. One thing that's kind of important is that you use something that's visible for the type of video you're displaying. Now, a lot of video has black backgrounds, so that's why I'm using a more of a mostly opaque, darker color here. Actually, it should probably be a little bit lighter in order to be more visible. And then I'm going to select my data slots 8 and 9. And this is, you'll see why I do this later, and we're not going to expire. And then just go back to your dashboard, and you'll see your new tile has shown up. Now, what your push data slots are is you basically have 10 slots on your account that allow you to hold data. And that data can be text, it can be images, or it can be an image with text on top of it. And what I'm going to use it for in this case is I'm going to use it for displaying a Control4 logo at first, and then it's going to scroll to the actual notification. And that's because I'm using multiple data slots. If you used a single data slot, it would just always display that data that you push to it. Now you see that this tile here is in the upper left-hand corner because I don't have any other tiles. If I wanted to move it into one of the other areas, I would just go to Add Tiles and add one of these spacer tiles. And then create it the correct number, the correct size in order to place it where I want. But I actually want it in the upper left-hand corner, so I'm going to leave it there. And in terms of the size, remember we made this tile 3 wide by 1 high. And the default grid is a 6 by 5. You can change that, of course, if you need to. Now the other thing I'm going to do here is we want to add our new rounded corners, which is under Tiles, and then select the background corner radius. And you'll see that created a rounded corner look, which is better for notifications in most cases. Now I'm going to push some temporary data into these 2 data slots so that you can see what it looks like. And I'm going to do that straight through our interface here. So I just go to Splash Tiles and click on Control, and then select slot 8 here. And then I'm going to grab a Control4 logo, push that here. And then I'm going to go to slot 9, and I'm going to add some text. And now that I've pushed that data, I can go back to my dashboard, and you see this is what it's going to look like, once you actually use it. And then the final step is we just need to save this as one of our screens. So we'll just put that in here, and I will just name it C4 Demo 1. And that's it. We have to go to Control4 now and configure it. Okay, in Control4 Composer, the first thing you're going to do is add our Netplay cloud driver right here. You can download that off of our website, and then you add it just like you would any other driver. And once you have it in place, the first thing you're going to need to do is to link it to Splash Tiles using a browser token. Now, your browser token is a secret value, so don't share it with anyone. And we'll show you how to get that browser token in Splash Tiles next. Keep in mind, you can always delete your browser token and create a new one if it got leaked for any reason. To get your browser token, you just go back to Splash Tiles and then click on Setup, Devices. And if you already have a browser device, then you'll get it here. But if not, you just create one. And this new device right here is your device. So you just copy that token. And that's what you're going to put back into your driver. Now back in Composer, we just go up here to this browser token field and paste that in. And that's it. The rest of these settings aren't needed if you're just doing a simple one-way communication. I'll talk a little bit about those later in the video if you want to enable two-way communication. So for now, we're going to go ahead and go into programming and show you how to trigger these notifications. So obviously the first thing you're going to do is select the event that you want to cause the notification to be sent. I'm just going to use a generic one. And then go over to your Netplay cloud driver. And you're going to be using a device-specific command. Now in this case, it will be a push data command. Now you remember that in the screen that we set up, we were actually using two push data slots. The first one we were going to send with a Control4 image, which if you always want to send a Control4 image, I obviously don't have to dynamically send it, but if you wanted to, say, send a garage door image instead, you'd go ahead and select your slot 8. You didn't want any text there, you just wanted an image. So you select here to choose an image. And these images all come from the driver itself. If you unzip the driver, you'll see a directory in there for images. And basically everything that's in that directory you can select here. Now, I probably don't have a garage door in here, so I'm just going to choose something like, I don't know, a wheelchair, why not? And this is the image that's going to get pushed to it. Now, obviously, if you want to actually go put a garage door image in there, then that would be the ideal solution, or to put the Control4 logo image like I showed you earlier. You can also provide an image URL if there is an external image, like a web image or something that you want to use. But in any case, you just choose this and you go grab it over here in the driver. And that's going to push your image into your slot 8. Now you also want to send your text to slot 9. So you want to get rid of this here. And then type in that text. And I'm putting it all in here just for demonstration purposes. And you put that over there into slot 9. Basically, this is going to send the push data. So these two commands send that push data, and that updates the information on our cloud server. But we now also need to send a command to tell whichever TV you want to actually display that notification. So that command is going to be a different command, and in this case, it's screen overlay. So you just send screen overlay. Next, you have to set your device. Now, your device name is whatever you named it in the Devices tab in Splash Tiles. Now, you know that your Splash Tiles account can have up to 5 devices attached to it, so that could be 5 different TVs with the basic accounts. And with Pro accounts, of course, you can have more. But basically, in your device's screen, you tell it what you want your name to be. You can configure the name. So in this case, we're just going to say Sony Office because that's exactly what we named it in Splash Tiles. And then next, you're going to set your source. Now, in this case, we called it C4 Demo 1. That's the screen name. And then the next two are really important. The duration sets how long we want the notification to display before it automatically goes away. Now, in most cases, you're going to want to set this to something like 30. Now, if you set it to 0, that means that it's going to display forever until canceled. And then your interactive one right here tells Splash Tiles whether you want the user to be able to interact with your notification or not. Now, the simple notification that we just showed you, there's really nothing for the user to do other than just see it. If you set this to interactive, then that allows the user to use the back button on his remote to just dismiss it before the 30 seconds are up. But if you set it to 0, then it's completely uninteractive. It'll just go away after 30 seconds. And then the last field, device ID, isn't used in this case. So here you add it like that. Okay, and that's all you need to do for one-way notifications. You can make as many of these as you like, tie them to whatever events you like, and display anything that you want. All you have to do is hit the execute, or it executes normally like it would in programming, and it will look like this on your TV. Okay, well, now that we've shown you the basics on how to do notifications, we're going to do something a little bit more advanced. Now, Splash Tiles actually has the ability for full two-way control back to your Control4 system. So in this example, what I'm going to show you is not only are we going to display the notification that your garage door is open, we're also going to give the user a button that appears on top of their interface that allows them to close the garage door logically. So the first step in enabling two-way control back to your Control4 system is to go ahead and enable our Netplay cloud interface. And part of that's done in Control4, but part of it's also done here in Splash Tiles, and I'll show you that first. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go into your account links section here, and you'll see Netplay cloud here, and your status will be not linked because you haven't been linked yet. And then you will click the link button, and if you don't have a Netplay cloud account, which most of you don't unless you have a Netplay system, you will go in here and you'll create a new Netplay cloud account, which is free. And then once you verify your email, you'll go ahead and enter those credentials here and link it. And once you do that, you'll see that basically all the devices that are attached to that Netplay cloud. Once you set up your Control4 driver, you'll see it in the devices that appear here, and you'll always know what it is because it says it's C4 driver. So you're going to need this device ID right here. So I'm just going to copy it and go back to our dashboard. So on our dashboard, we're going to add another tile. And this tile is a Netplay command tile. And we're just going to make it a 1x1. Ideally, I would pick that same color that I had before, but I unfortunately don't remember what it was. So I'm just going to pick something a little different. And this is where we paste in that device ID to control. And the command we're going to use in this case, we're trying to close a garage door. Now, Netplay Cloud on our C4 driver has a lot of commands built in, like watch and listen and turn rooms on and turn lights off. But obviously closing garage door is a little bit more of a specialized command, so we're just going to use a generic event command. So in this case, we will use event 1. And that's the whole thing. We could add parameters to this, but it's really not necessary in this case. And that's going to basically just map to an event on our Control4 driver that in programming in Control4 you can later attach that to close the door. And then we're going to give it an icon. I'm just going to pick one that sort of looks like closing a garage door, like that, and add it. And you'll see now in your dashboard that, no, did I click to spin that? I did not want to spin that. So let's unspin that. And we didn't want it fully opaque either. There we go. And the spinning icon would have been really annoying. Also, I really do want these colors to be the same, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and edit this and just see what it is. 234, 229, 235. So I'll go in here. 234, 229, 235. Perfect. Okay, awesome. Okay, we've got our button, and the Netplay command button is actually an interactive button. That's just a function of the tile as it's defined. We could add more buttons if we like, but it's usually best to just keep it simple. People don't really want a whole lot of stuff showing up on their screen. So we'll keep it with this, and we'll go ahead and just save this as C4 Demo 2. Okay, back in Control4. So assuming you've got your browser token already, and we just set up our Netplay Cloud account in Splash Tiles. So really all we have to do here is go ahead and set this property to on and hit set. And you should see things flash by, and so it says connected like that. And once again, this is that same device ID that we used in Splash Tiles. So you could have just copied it from here as well. It's basically the UUID of your controller. So this is actually already set up and good to go for two-way control. Now, you probably want to review the documentation, obviously. All the instructions that I've gone through is in the documentation in here. In particular, it even links this video. But down here is actually the command syntax of those buttons that you can use in Splash Tiles to send back to Control4. You remember that we used the event 1 command right here, 1 being it's going to trigger event 1 on the driver. But you can also use other stuff like watch, listen, set the volume, mute, power, and so on and so forth. Those don't require any additional programming in the Control4 side. If you send those buttons, they'll just do it automatically. You don't have to do anything additional here. Obviously, with the event commands, you do, right? So in order for that to actually close that garage door, we basically have to go into programming. So in programming, we're going to have to go select our Netplay Cloud driver and grab event 1. And under event 1, you can, well, I've already got a command in here, obviously, but that's not what we want. Probably was using that for testing. You'd have to go find your garage door driver over here and drop it over there. I don't have any garage door automation, so I can't do that, but obviously you can choose anything and set it that way. But you know, it's just a standard event, which you can use for anything else. Obviously, there's up to 9 events on this driver, and you can use those for any type of programmable command. In this event driver, this event in programming, you can obviously use any of the variables defined on our driver to perform more advanced functions. Or you could just simply use the event like this. And that's about it, really. As you can see, this notification interface is really easy to send notifications. You can send anything you want, image, text, GIFs, anything you want. And you can receive any type of two-way control back. So it's a really flexible interface, and you can use it to do almost anything. And really the only thing left to do is to show you what that looks like on the TV.